video, we're talking about homepage sales copy. Okay, the term copy, C-O-P-Y, basically just means things that you are typing. Okay, so when you're talking about, when I say the word copy, I'm talking about things that you're writing about on your actual store. And what I sort of want to do in this video is just kind of give some pointers around types of things that you should be writing on your homepage, kind of giving some tips as well on like how it looks. I'll also kind of go through and show a couple of different examples of some different sections that I have in the demonstration section when I'm actually building out the store, just to talk about the different types of sections that you could use to sort of talk about your store, your brand, things like that. Okay, so starting off, what I always try to make sure that I'm doing is that I'm keeping things relatively short and sweet. You kind of want to make sure that whatever you are typing on the store is skimmable. All right. Sometimes I see people write long bunches of text in spots like this here, or maybe in here. This section would end up being 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of text. You want to make sure that everything is skimmable, meaning when someone begins to scroll through your store, they can kind of skim your text and understand what it is you're writing. Okay, and that should be the same for every piece of sales copy that you're putting on your homepage. There's no need to have really long drawn out sentences or like tell people your life story or anything like that. Okay, that's the big thing. The second thing is you'll see in here, for example, I sometimes will have some bold text as well. Formatting your text, if I click on this rich text section right here, you will see that the actual text is bold. Okay, you can see that also here. There is a couple of words of bold, and then same thing in here. Now, these words right here are bold, right? Each section should sort of have some bold letters that will help, again, just with the overall aesthetic of the store, all right? Now, let's talk about specific sections. So whenever you have like a rich text section, right? The goal here is to just sort of make some sort of a statement about your store, about who you are as a brand, who it is you're selling to, why your products are special, things like that. Okay, a lot of times in these sections as well, I will link out to like an About Us page or something like that. You don't necessarily have to. Technically, you don't even really need a button there if you don't want to. But this section, anytime you're doing like a rich text, this should be talking about the brand, giving some insights to like why your store was made, what it's trying to do, what makes it special. What I would always say as well is try not to make this feel like too formal, or make it feel like you're forcing it, or like you're trying to make the store sound, too fancy or something. Sometimes I see people write things in this section where it ends up feeling a little bit awkward because they're using like really dramatic phrases and things like that. Like I would honestly just keep it relatively simple. When I say keep it simple, I just mean like make it, sort of casual. Obviously, depending on the type of store that you are creating, you could do some different things. You could also come up with like some sort of slogan for the store. There was a store that I had where I was selling personalized products, and I wrote something to the effect in this headline section here: "We make what you love, comma, yours," right? So a nice little slogan: "We make what you love, yours," right? So like something like that could be used in a spot like this. Obviously, depending on your niche, depending on what you're doing, you could do something else like that. Another way that store copy sort of comes into play on the homepage is how you label different sections, right? A lot of times, if you are just like putting in a featured collection section, for example, it's going to show up on your store and it's just going to say featured collection. This text should be edited. You want to make sure that, again, you're not just having like featured collection or featured products being written there. You'll see here in the example I changed it to catch of the day. This section is ultimately a best seller type of a section. That's how I've kind of positioned that here on this demo store. That is something that you could do. Is you could write catch of the day or something like that, maybe more relevant to your actual niche. as we continue to scroll, right, anytime you're doing like a banner, right, you're just kind of like making a statement like, hey, here's what these are, type something about the product, make it two to three lines of text maximum. You can see some bold text in there as well. The same thing is true up here. This just says, newest drops, caught fresh daily, right, kind of relevant to fishing and things like that. As we continue to scroll, multi-column sections are used quite a bit by me. I have several different examples through a lot of our training. We also have this version of it here. It's the same section. It's just set up in a little bit of a different way. In the actual demonstration section, where I'm talking about building out these sections, you'll see how to achieve both looks. But these are sections here that I think illustrate two different types of things that you can write about on your store's homepage. Sometimes people will ask me questions, right? They'll hear me talk about how your homepage should have content on it, right? That your homepage should tell people things about your store, about your products, but they just don't know what to write about. I'm going to try to keep this really simple for you. What you can do is you can either write about the store, right? When I say write about the store, what I mean is come up with some things to talk about your store, right? So you could have some information here about how awesome your customer service is. You could have some information here about how fast your products are produced, or how quickly they ship, or how they ship for a very cheap cost, whether it's free shipping or a flat rate of $4.95 or something like that. You could also then talk about the quality, right? Being top tier, that you use the best fabrics or whatever. So basically what I'm saying is you could take a brand approach where you're just talking about why your brand is awesome with those couple of examples. You could also create a section like this, why people love us, right? And then you could kind of come up with 3 things about your products, right? Like unique designs, luxurious feel, and then like quality guarantee or something like that, right? Anytime you're creating content blocks like this, whether it's some sort of multi-column section, you could even use like a multi-row section. I'll show you what that looks like right here. Multi-row is basically just 3 image with text sections. You could kind of take the same approach here, where you're picking out 3 things about your product's quality, maybe first and foremost about unique designs, secondly, just a really quality made item, high quality fabrics, whatever, and then down here you could talk about the printing of it, right? Like 3 aspects of the quality. Or again, like I said before, a section like this could be used, and you could talk about customer service, quick shipping, quality guarantee, something to that effect. My point is, you want to be writing about either the store, the brand, right, meaning customer service, shipping, things like that, or the products, high quality, great printing, stuff like that. Okay. I've also got here just an example of again, some sort of a section sort of talking about the store. This is kind of, all the same sort of things to think about when it comes to writing a section like that we talked about here. You can see on this section as well, I am also linking to some sort of a about page, something like that. I would say if you're going to remove a button from a section like this, it might be good to have it down here, just be linking to it somewhere. My main point in making this video was just to sort of talk through all of the different types of things that you could write on your store's homepage. The goal here, like I said a few different times throughout our training, is to make this feel like a little bit of a brochure for your brand, right? So that way when people are landing here, they see some of what you sell, they see a little bit about who you are, and when I say who you are, I don't necessarily mean you specifically, I mean like you as in the brand, okay? And hopefully it's been helpful.